Alright, now that the whole hayfield deal is done, we can finally focus solely on getting shit ready for harvest because it's, I think today's September 2nd, right? No, today's September 3rd. October's gonna be here before you know it. And if we keep getting this dry, shit's gonna come, or keep staying this dry, shit's gonna come on early. And my fear right now is corn's gonna have shit test weight and beans are gonna have a bunch of aborted pods, but it is what it is. So, but anyhow, gonna start on this little elevator first. Should be pretty easy. All I'm gonna do is you can kind of feel it right where the edge of the roll starts to come around the corner. Just zip out a spot here to get down past this crack and cut a rectangle out, and then I got a patch sheet right there, and we'll lay a patch in there and shoot a little bit of paint on it and call it good. So let me get a writing utensil here. One thing that sucks is there's not a whole lot of room. Well, I ought to be able to get a die grinder in there with a zip wheel. Come down. That should be plenty. I can get the marker in there. And then we'll just kind of right up through here. And then there's a little lip that goes up inside. So something about like that ought to give us plenty. Like I say, hopefully, actually, if we got a worn out cutter wheel, that would be ideal because it'd give you more room to work. So, let's see what we can come up with. Alright, I got the old piece cut out, got my patch cut, it's laid in there, kinda. It's gonna be a little interesting getting it in because the way it goes up under the housing for the boot, it actually has a wow in it. So I'm gonna have to tack it here in the center and here, and then I can pop the clamp, and we'll kind of have to work it to get everything to relax. And then welding a little bit on the inside is going to be interesting, but that's the piece that came out. You could damn near shave with the part where it broke off. It's pretty sharp. So get you, where can let me get you set up here. I'd get you closer, but I don't want the welder to screw the camera up, because I'm sure it probably isn't actually good for it. Although it ain't the first time I've done it, and it sure as hell ain't gonna be the last. I need to look and see, because the lens there that actually covers up the whatever the hell, I'm not a camera guy, but there's a replaceable lens right here, and I need to see if they make one that's tinted for doing stuff like this. But if I did, by all rights, it'd also be nice to have a second camera sometime. So if I do go that far, I might look and actually seeing about buying a whole separate camera. Well, now it just kind of lays in there all nice and natural like. I wonder, of course, the steel I'm using for the patch is a touch bit thicker than the original, because A, it was going to be easier to weld in if you had more parent material. They'd be less likely to blow through it. And B, I figure, not that I'm ever going to wear it out again in my lifetime, but if that's going to be a wear spot, it might be nice to have a little bit more meat there for the future. I do need to pop that corner up just a skish, but you can't get a hand. Oh, there it went. If I can reach. Perfect. I think I'm going to leave that corner just the way it is, because it's pretty nice. There. And now, to avoid, because it's really thin, it's going to be very sensitive to thermal change, and you don't want to warp it. You just kind of randomly work your way around, moving the heat around so that you're not welding like this. Alright, that's all laid in there, cleaned up. I don't know if the original, well, I doubt it did because there wasn't any signs that there ever was one, but the originally there wasn't anything right here in the middle. So I just laid a little bead in there to, I don't know, it felt better having it there than nothing. And I was able to get a little, we got some small grinding stones for our die grinder. I was able to get inside there and knock the stalactites off so that we're not tearing up the paddles. So, like it never even happened. And it, yeah, you can't see. The welds here on the inside got a little ugly because I could not get in there to clean out the surfaces to get them to lay in decent, but they're stuck. It ain't like it's, and you can't see it anyway, so eh. But I'm gonna go ahead and mask this off and shoot some shiny on it, that way you can't see it, and then we can bring the combine down here and work on the fixing that auger trough. Okay, so I'll have to clean this shit out of here. Some of it settled out because I power washed this last week. But we're gonna have to go, feels like at least back into here, probably past that bolt, which this one could get sort of interesting. God, it'd be nice to be able to get that whole plate out of there, but that would be, because you're hemmed in by these angles. So to get that out, you damn near have to get But man, if you could fix that outside the combine and then just bolt it back in, that'd be slicker than shit. I just don't think it's gonna happen. But probably gonna have to come clear back into here. Because the only way I could see getting this out is to take this panel out too. And if this is spot welded to this here at this seam, then that one ain't coming out either. Because my guess is everything came in down from the top and this was the first piece to go in. Let me do some investigating here. Okay, so I looked inside, and the only way to get that and any of this crap out, you have to pull the whole shoe because you can't get to half the bolt. And that's quite a project to get the shoe out of there, so I'm not saying it's not going to have to happen at some point because I'd like to do the bearings in it, but that's not a project I want to take on right now. And it's not going to be too terrible of a job just to zip this out of here. I'm going to cut, and we're going to have to push. That's a little tweaked right there. We'll have to get a hammer and punch and beat that back up where it belongs. It's kind of got an ink going to it, probably because that corner broke out. But anyway, I'm going to cut right along this crease right, or this bend right here. That way I don't have to try to form the lip into the patch. And that'll get me a nice fillet right there to lay a bead of weld into. And then I will actually probably make the patch slightly oversized, and I will lay it underneath. I'll just butt it right here, and then here underneath I'll actually overlap a little bit and run weld here and run weld on the inside. just to put a little bit of strength right here. So, and I got enough, there's room right there to do it. We'll have to clean, there's a little bit of rust bubble right there, but so anyway, go ahead and get that cut out so that we can get a patch made. Alright, I'm gonna switch grinders. A little sliver still hanging on right there. Still got plenty of meat right there. Apparently, have to look at the way the auger screws, but my guess is the way it pulls grain out, it must load the back of the auger right here, and that's why it wore the way it did. So we'll have to pound that out flat so we can trace it. Pretty thin in the skin. Just makes me wonder what came first. Did a crack form and it let it pull in against the auger and that's why it wore? Or did it wear out right there and that's what broke it? But either way, it needed replaced. All right, well, about an hour and a half later, I got a patch made. It's still not quite perfect, but I've come to the conclusion I'm gonna have to start welding it in and fitting it as I go to try to match the curvature of what we got going on. So I did manage to get a nice fit along the top, which surprised the hell out of me. So we at least got that going for us. So yeah, plan is I'm going to weld it across the top there and then just start working, see if I can get it clamped in here and then just start working this out. There's going to end up being a gap here. How the hell I screwed that up, I don't know, but it shouldn't be anything I can't fill in with a little bit of patience. So anyhow, pardon my reach. Welding thin metal outside, upside down. This is going to be fun. I have to make a spot to ground real quick though. That would help. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Damn it. Stay. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna end up full of holes. Get that corner down. Now if I can put a little tiny one up in there. Okay, we're in business. Get the rest of that. Yeah, I don't know if I'll go completely solid, but put a couple more good tacks in and then we can start working it around. Alright. Not too shabby. Need to obviously clean the welds up, but it's better than the big old crack and hole that was there by far. Why am I shaking? What was I gonna say? Oh, I probably should have came back further and got on the other side of the crown, because it's still a little thin back over here. But if anything, when we finally do pull the shoe out, because I want to do the bearings on the shoe at some point. That might be a project for next year. Because next year I want to do what we're doing here to the tailings elevator, pull the tailings elevator off and there's some thin spots in it, fix the holes in the elevator and put all new bearings in the tailings system. So that'll be a next year project. And then if I end up pulling the shoe all the way out, which hopefully you can do with the walkers in it. Gotta hope you can do it with the walkers in it, because I don't want to pull the walkers out. Although I should probably do the walker bearings too. Anyway, once the shoe's out, if need be, we can have this whole pan replicated and just put a completely new pan in it and be done with it. But regardless, that obviously needed done because that was the spot for grain to fall out, and we don't want none of that. So anyhow, I'm gonna get them welds cleaned up and slap some paint on it for now. And I noticed while I was welding on that right here on the bearing flange for the tailings elevator, we got a crack here and a crack here and a crack here. So I'm gonna see if I can sneak my hand down in there and get them bolts out of the way and weld those cracks up real quick, just so we don't have an issue and have that thing break out, and that would make a mess, so we don't want none of that. God damn it. Okay, I got them cracks all welded up, got some paint thrown at it so it wouldn't rust. What I'm thinking is going to happen here, because of the way it's cracked and because of the fact that I don't trust it not to re-crack right next to the weld, is when we get this tore apart to do the tailing system, because this is the tail end bearing in the tailings auger. Get the bolts and everything, because I couldn't pull the bolts all the way out because you can't, with the shoe in there, you can't get your hand down. I can reach that one, but I can't reach the bottom two. So if you knocked them out, you're screwed because you can't get back in there to put them back in. So I was able to, luckily with the impact, get them spun off and took the lock washers off so I can get them out of the way, and then just thread the nut on like 2 threads so that the bolt couldn't fall through. And that left me enough room to weld. But I think what's going to happen when we go through the tailing system is cut a reinforcing plate out and buzz the hole in it for the bearing, and put the bolt pattern in it for the flange bolts, and weld a plate in here that is slightly bigger than where the crack was, and drill some holes in it so we could plug weld it in and actually put a reinforcing plate where that bearing is. Because what it appears is, when they put this bearing, or assembled this bearing, it's almost like they put it on the shaft about where it was supposed to be and locked it down, and then tightened all the bolts up, and it actually sucked the side of the combine in slightly. Because you take the bolts out and the sheet metal pops back out. It's almost like they sucked it in, and that put a stress point there, and that's why it was cracking. Because when you set a bearing like that, where you're got locking bearings on both sides of the shaft instead of having one float, which this is kind of a common setup in farm equipment, you get your shaft centered, put the bearings on loose, get your flanges tight, and then lock the bearings down. That way nothing's in a bind. But either they locked one side, something got mixed up, and it appears that bearing is pulled in, or that side of the combine is pulled in. I mean, like maybe 1/8 of an inch. It probably might not even be that much, but it sucks in when you tighten the bolts down. So Somebody left some wire behind. But anyway, I'm pretty much at a stopping point for today. All the welding and repair is done, so we're ready to start going back together. And everything's cut apart. Everything, it should go back together really damn quick tomorrow. But what I want to do while we're here is I want to go down to the barn. I got to measure these doors for width, and I got to go down to the barn and see if, because I saw them up on the shelf. I was down looking for something earlier this week, and I saw the pile of screens. So I got to see if I got 2 doors, and there should be a screen here and one for, there should be a screen that replaces this and a screen that replaces this door. So we're gonna go see if I have those. I'm pretty sure I do. Okay, so these are the screen doors that go on when you're running corn and soybeans. These don't look like they've ever... Those have never been on a combine. Well, that could make things a little interesting because you got to get... I mean, I guess it turns. But you got to get the pin. Oh, that one. Okay, that one's never... That one has been on a combine. Okay. You just need one side of the hinge because you take the pin out and you take one door off and swap doors. But these two are actually new old stock. They've never seen grain. But anyway, I need one screen door that is 8 3/4, which is that guy, so we need that one. And then I need one screen door that is 6 3/4, which looks like this one. As long as the hinge is right. That hinge has been... I don't know if that's factory or if somebody welded that back on there. But anyway, we need that door. And I need one... which looks like this guy, maybe? No. Bigger. Ooh, that guy, maybe. Okay, we need that guy. That's the one that'll go in between the 2 clean grain elevators. I wonder what FT means. It's got FT written in like chalk or, oh wait. Oh. Left. L-E-F-T. And then this one should be the screen for the tailings elevator. So it looks like we got everything here. And I got more, I think I got more of these somewhere. I guess I can leave that up here because it's not going to go back on. Well, I'll take it back on. That one doesn't really need to go back on until we run wheat. And actually, is this one left? We'll use that door because it's got the J-hook on it. This one does not. Okay, so I've got all my screen doors. Technically, you could put one on the lower, the little short clean grain elevator. I don't know if it's necessary. I think one will suffice. What else? What did I determine that one was for? I don't think I did determine. This one might actually be for a 525. I wonder if that one's for a 525. What else do we got? It's a spare something. That might be a head drive belt. That's a clover screen for, that's got to be for the 7300. And the original side panels for the 525 before I put the chopper on. A couple spare chopper panels for a 525. Insecticide boxes for the 540. I need to get some of this shit out of here. That's the muffler that was on the 1955 when we got it. This is... oh, that's the reinforcing plate when you mount the straw spreader on the 7300. And what's in this box? Yeah. Oh, that's old 540 parts. Need to get them out of here too. There's obviously been a critter or two making a nest in there, huh? All right. Well, on the upside, I got my screens I need to hopefully make that thing, or get that thing to make a little cleaner beans. All right, I checked my doors and they are correct. We're good to go there, so hopefully those will help clean up the grain sample. I don't know if this thing was grinding worse than the 525 does, because my cylinder speed was too fast, or if the 525 just did a better job of cleaning because the 525's got all the screens on the clean outdoors. But either way, it'd be nice to get this thing to do as good of a grain sample as the 525 did, because that was the one thing I always loved about the 525, is that thing would make a grain sample like you wouldn't believe, because she's just a good little old combine. Anyhow, like I say, I'm gonna call her good for today. It's almost 4:30 anyhow, and I gotta get the mess cleaned up, and my boss is out of town, so I've been taking care of the critters while he's out of town, so I gotta go back up there and do afternoon chores. So it's about time to call her good anyhow. So, but like I say, tomorrow all the hard parts done. All we gotta do is slap shafts back in and set bearings. It should take no time at all. So hopefully tomorrow, weather permitting, because we got chances of rain, which if I get rained out, I don't care, because I want, beans need rain, that hay needs rain. It'd just be nice to get some rain. But if it doesn't end up raining, hopefully we can get all this put back together and possibly get the oil and fuel filters and stuff changed. So that's next on the list. That's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.